We are quickly heading into another Ohio winter, and that means slick roadways and an increased risk of crashes. Today, we are talking about what you need to do to prepare for and how you can keep yourself and our roadways safe.
I am a school resource officer.
I am a deputy detective.
I'm Major C.J. Stantz. One of my responsibilities is leading our deputies. Serving as a deputy includes a variety of duties, such as answering calls out on the road, engaging our community during events and other activities, providing security to our government facilities, working in our schools as a school resource officer, and so much more. The job is challenging, fast-paced, always changing, and truly rewarding.
Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference. Welcome to On Our Watch. I'm your Stark County Sheriff George Maier. Snow, sleet, ice, it's all coming our way, and preparation is the key. Joining me today are Sergeant Johnny Maier with the Ohio State Highway Patrol and Ray Marsh, Public Information Officer with the Ohio Department of Transportation, District 4 Akron office. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate you being here. Now, so that our audience doesn't get confused, you see Sheriff George Maier and Sergeant Johnny Maier. In full disclosure, Sergeant Johnny Maier is my son, and he's a sergeant with the Ohio State Highway Patrol at the Massillon, or I should say Canton Post, Stark County Post in Canton, Ohio. So thank you again both for being here. We want to talk to you a little bit today and get the conversation going a little bit about what we need to be prepared for. As we head into the winter season, we know as we all know, we live in Ohio, and with a moment's notice, the weather can change, and it does. And so, from that perspective, Ray, I'd kind of like to ask you a little bit about what we have to look forward to as we come into the winter months.
Yeah, so over the last few weeks and few months, our crews have been preparing for the snow and ice season. Now, it's already snowed a few times here in Stark County, so that's why we kind of got ahead of it. Our crews go through a 150-point inspection where they're checking everything on our trucks. So they're looking to make sure a small issue doesn't turn into a bigger issue once that snow starts to fly. So they go around, they do this inspection, and they're checking over everything. Also, they begin their snow and ice routes. So they're training new employees to go out and head on the roadways and really get familiar with their route and what it's going to be like. It's totally different once that snow starts to fly and somebody's in a plow on 77 versus when it's clear. So that's all the preparation that takes place throughout the summer. Our crews begin filling all of our salt domes up, and so we're fully, we're ready to rock once that snow, starts to fly.
Great. Well, sounds like you're really prepared for the snow to start. And as I said earlier, it's really unpredictable in Ohio. We never know. Today, the temperatures in the high 40s, low 50s. It only takes a moment's notice for those temperatures to change, and for our roadways to get pretty slick in a short notice. I'm going to go to Sergeant Maier with Highway Patrol. Thank you again for being here, Johnny. I would tell you that, when I was a trooper in the Highway Patrol, we spent a lot of time with our partners with ODOT, and we would be part of their rollout in early October when you guys were getting your equipment ready. But what precautions, what things have you guys have in place, Johnny, with the Highway Patrol to work with your partners at ODOT?
So one of the biggest things that we do with ODOT, foreseeing that the bad weather may be coming, we do go along the roadways and clear a lot of the hazards that might already be along the roadways. Sometimes these hazards can be disabled vehicles that are parked on the shoulders or near the shoulders. It could be debris or deer from previous deer crashes that we've handled. And we help them to prepare and clear the roadways so that when they do come out, when they do hit the road, they're able to get out there and clear the snow, clear that slush and ice out of the way without having to worry about those things getting in their way. A lot of times you'll see if a vehicle or something's parked on the edge of the roadway, they may not be able to plow close to the edge of the roadway. They might have to move into the other lane, and that can then present a hazard for those travelers later on who encounter that patch that didn't get removed from the road.
Sure. And so it sounds to me, Ray, like there's a lot of coordination that goes on with your partners out there to making sure that our roadways are safe. one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about is, staffing has been an issue for everyone. And so I know you guys have been working on getting your staffing up and getting those people trained. How does the safety of your staff, how does that play into your training?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Safety is a top priority here for the Ohio Department of Transportation. With that, we do extensive training with our crews. Like I mentioned, you go out before snow and ice starts and you travel your route. That's really one key thing we do. You're sitting with a trained, seasoned snow and ice member sitting next to you who's been here for 10 plus years or so, and they're really guiding you on your route. So if you think about it, when you're driving a plow truck, it's totally different than a vehicle, because you have a 12-foot plow, and sometimes the road is like 14 feet wide, so there's not a lot of room to work with. So you're sitting there with somebody who's telling you, hey, watch out for this portion of the roadway here. It's kind of windy. You're really gonna this bridge joint here, you got to raise your plow on it. So it's just really vital to get out, get that seat time with those new employees before the snow and ice season starts. That way they're prepared, they know where the issue spots might be, and they're able to attack it in the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, that plays right into our motors to make sure they give plenty of room for those plows when they're out there. Johnny, I like to talk about some of the stories when I was a trooper, and I can tell you that one of the things that I used to see when I was a trooper was usually in the first couple snows of the year, people aren't really ready for the snow or the ice, worse yet. And I find that a lot of the problems that we have with motorists is that they're driving just a little too fast for the conditions. What do you see today? How has that changed?
Well, that's true today. As a traffic safety department, we are handling crashes on a regular basis that involve a lot of speeds that are unsafe for the conditions. Now you throw some ice, some snow, slush into it, and those just increase quite a bit. So, you're out there on the roadway and the speed limit says it's 55 or even 65 in parts of 77. And people believe that that's still the speed limit that they can travel during these otherwise poor conditions, weather conditions. And that's not the case. We should be traveling, we should be slowing our speed down and traveling at speeds that are ideal for what the roadway condition is that day, not what the sign says on the side of the road. That being said, there's a lot of hazards that people aren't aware of. The bridges that Ray mentioned, the joints might be a problem for them when they're plowing, but for us, the problem with the bridge is that the wind traveling under the bridge causes the bridge to ice over quickly. That roadway leading up to the bridge, everything seems great, everything's going well. We hit the bridge and we're on the gas, and all of a sudden our car's sideways. So, it is that sign that says bridge ices before the rest of the roadway. That means, be prepared to let off the gas when you're going across the bridge. Be prepared that there might be some slipping or some sliding on the bridge when you hit the bridge. And so it really just comes back to, as you said, Sheriff, just maintaining a speed that's reasonable for that condition, the roadway condition.
That's a great point, reminding folks that those bridge decks do freeze before the rest of the roadway. And, the key to preparing for that when we talk about preparation is just slow down. Give yourself a little extra time and be aware of the folks out there maintaining the roads, your folks out there trying to make the roadways safe for us so that we can travel to and from where we're going. So we got to keep that in mind. And as we talk about that, I think it's important that from the law enforcement's perspective in our highways, how those teams work together. I know our deputies work very closely with the Highway Patrol and with ODOT to make sure that we're communicating and we're sharing that information. And honestly, when those crashes start to come in, I think it's fair to say that it's overwhelming, and we get overwhelmed. Highway Patrol, they get overwhelmed with crashes, and we sort through those things. But we can't do it without your guys' help out there trying to make the roadways safe for the motorist. You know, before the program today, Ray, we talked a little bit about, you know, there are outposts, there are sub-posts for ODOT, so that it makes it easier for your teams to get in and get out and get loaded and get out on the roadways. Talk to us a little bit about that preparation and the amount of salt that you have to have starting out for the year.
Yeah, so we have over 20,000 tons of salt on hand in Stark County right now, and we have various outposts strategically placed around the county. That way, not everybody is reporting to one spot. Our main office is on 62. Just east of Plain Township there in Stark County. That's our main facility, but we have various outposts throughout. You know, one right off Route 30, and as you drive around the county, you could see them as well. So each outpost has its own storage as well. So I threw out that 20,000 tons of salt. You know, each outpost has some of that. And then they also have their own brine tank as well. So what is brine? We use that to treat the roadways, and it's just salt that we get from Lake Erie, and then it's just the water that we use to mix it. So we get all of our material from our outposts that are all set up there, and then our crews, they specifically report out of their own outpost there. So it's set up to where X amount of people report, you know, where it's needed. In total in Stark County, we have 20 snow and ice routes. So our crews are able to hit, you know, they're able to get out and treat the roads a lot better than just having one centralized spot. And also the good thing is as we all know in Stark County, once the snow starts to fly, it's very unpredictable. So we could be getting hit with snow in the northern part of the county and not the southern. So we're able to defer routes. So we're able to take some folks from the southern part of the county and bring them up and maybe just treat the northern part of 77. So we're really able to bounce around and treat the roads where the snow's starting to fly.
Well, I think that's great for our listeners to know. You utilize your resources where you actually need them, rather than saying, we have these resources here, and if they're not needed, we're not going to use them. You do use them. You put them on other routes. I know you're the ODOT office across from the sheriff's office out on Atlantic Boulevard, US 62. We get to watch you guys during a snow event or a winter weather event, and it's nonstop. I mean, you got people over there loading and coming in and out of that complex nonstop. And so we know you guys are diligent in your mission to make our roadways safe. You mentioned the brine, and I want to talk a little bit about brine, because unfortunately I've been around long enough to remember when we didn't have brine. And so for our listeners, let's talk a little bit about what brine is for. I mean, you use the brine a lot in pre-treating, so talk about pre-treatment. Why do we pre-treat, and what's the value of that?
Yeah, excellent question. So anytime we know a snow and ice storm is coming, we would like to get out in front of it and pre-treat the roadways. Pre-treating is when you put material down on the roadway before the snow happens, before the snow flies, to give our crews a jump start on the roadway to treating the roads. So we put down the salt, just traditional hard rock salt, and then we also mix the brine, which is a mixture of that salt and water there. A key thing is, if we know a snow and ice event is coming, and if there is rain beforehand, that happens a lot. We are not able to pre-treat the road if there's rain beforehand. And why is that? That's because the rain will wash away all that material. So that's something that we see happen a lot, and we're not able to pre-treat the roads because of that. But if it's dry and we know that tomorrow it's going to be a foot of snow and there's no rain beforehand, we will get out and treat the roadways. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it's amazing when you think about it. You're taking salt, you're mixing it with water, and you're putting it on the roadways to make our roadways safe. Hey, this is a good point for us to talk a little bit about what we're doing at the Stark County Sheriff's Office. We're hiring. It takes a team to keep Stark County safe and requires positions like dispatchers, deputies, corrections officers, and clerks, and more. We have a variety of open positions that just may be perfect for you.
I'm Major CJ Stantz. Serving as a deputy includes a variety of duties. The job is challenging, always changing, and truly rewarding.
I am Terry Curry, Communications Supervisor. Our dispatchers are the calming voice on the other end of the line during someone's worst moment. We are always there.
I'm Lieutenant Jeff Beck. Being a corrections officer isn't easy. The job is tough and it tests you every day. Every officer that works in our jail is making a difference.
I'm Sheriff George Maier. Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference. Well, welcome back, and we're talking today about road safety and weather conditions. And we're with our guests, Sergeant Maier from the Ohio State Highway Patrol and Ray Marsh from the Ohio Department of Transportation. Thank you both again for being here. I want to continue our conversation about winter driving, and specifically, what can drivers do? I want to kind of nail down what drivers can do to be safe when they're anticipating poor weather conditions.
Yeah, so when the snow starts to fly, our plows are only going a maximum of 35 miles per hour. So whether that's on 77, 241, it doesn't matter. Our plows are going a maximum of 35 miles per hour to treat the roadways. So one thing we always mention is don't crowd the plow, and that's a key reason. So if you need to, if you're out and you see our plow drivers, please just give them plenty of room to work. They are out in the worst conditions to try to make these roads better. So it just makes their job so much easier. Our folks, our men and women tell me all the time, Ray, if these cars just weren't tailgating us or passing us at an aggressive speed, it would just make their life so much easier, because then they're out treating the roadways and they're having to worry about somebody flying by them going 55, 60 miles per hour when they should be reduced as well. So it's really, our plows are going 35 miles per hour. So be cautious of that.
Sure, and I think it stands to reason. When we talk about, slow down a little bit. It's okay to slow down a little bit when you get in these type of weather conditions. Give yourself extra time when you're going from point A to point B. And I think, Sergeant, I think this is a good point for us to talk about when you guys are out there, clearing the roadways, making them safe for the plow drivers to get out and do their job. The law related to move over and slow down. We've seen too frequently where there are traffic crashes, people injured, sometimes people killed as a result of someone being on the side of the road. I think it's a common courtesy. First of all, I think it's a common courtesy. If you see somebody on the side of the road, slow down, move over, give them space, regardless of who they are. But let's talk specifically about the law as it relates to moving over and slow down.
Well, I'm glad you put that out there, that it's common courtesy. They're motorists all the time. It might be a family on their way to the airport or on their way to the store. They get a flat tire or something. They're on the side of the road. And, a trooper might not be out with them. A tow truck may not be out with them. A deputy may not be out with them. And so you encounter them, you should probably be thinking, I need to move over. I need to give them a room. Somebody may be stepping out of that vehicle or being on the traffic side of that vehicle. So, but when it relates to the law, it's pretty simple. The law clearly states that we need to either, one, move over into the other lane if there's a lane available, and if that lane is not available, that's where the slow down part comes into play. So the important thing here is, if that lane is available, that's where you need to move. You need to move over into the other lane and cautiously pass that disabled motorist or trooper or deputy or worker from the Department of Transportation, whoever might be out there. And then, if that is not available, if that lane is not open, you just simply can't move over, well then, at that point, slow way down. And we're not talking about decreasing your speed by 2, 3, 5 miles per hour. We're talking about, on an interstate or a route of high speeds, 50 to 70 miles per hour, reducing your speed by 20 miles per hour so that you can be prepared that something may happen. Someone may step out of that vehicle. Somebody may be bent down near that vehicle changing a tire, may have dropped something into the road. This could be any one of our family members. It could be any one of us. We could be out there stranded and need help. And so we should be thinking, that could be us. What could we do to help them if that was us in that situation?
You know, that's a great message. Just like we don't want to crowd the plow. We want to give your folks plenty of space. We want to exercise that courtesy for someone who stopped on the side of the road for whatever reason, and for our public safety forces and it may be a tow truck, whoever, move over into that left lane if you have the possibility to do so, and certainly slow down if you can't move over in that left lane. Let's give those folks cut them a break and help them out. Let's keep them safe. You know, we talk a little bit about Stark County and how we're prepared to clear our roadways in a snow event or a snow emergency. It's a good opportunity for me to remind folks to download our Sheriff's app, because on our Sheriff's app, we constantly put down road and weather conditions, road closures, things of that nature. So you can go to your app store, it's free, download the Sheriff's app and monitor the road and weather conditions right there. And we talk about working together, and one of the things that's unique about Stark County is that, quite frankly, we have urban and we have rural areas, right? And so we have a combination right here in Stark County. So what are the things that, this is maybe for you, Sarge, what are some of the things that we can remind our viewers of, things they can have in their car in case they do get that flat tire and are waiting an hour or so for a tow truck and they're out there in the elements? What are some of the things, how are some of the ways they can prepare?
Well, first of all, we need to think about our personal safety in those situations. And so if you're someone that gets up in the morning, gets dressed, and you got your nice clothes on, you're going out to work, and maybe you don't carry things like a winter hat or winter gloves with you because you're staying in your car and then you're going right into work, then you might be setting yourself out for a little bit of failure there, because, you know, let's say you get stranded, your car becomes disabled, you get a flat tire or something, who's to say you might not be out there in the cold for a while? So first of all, I would say have some personal items in the car that are going to be helpful. Some gloves, some hats, maybe a scarf, some of those extra items tucked somewhere away in your car. So that'd be the first thing. And then the next thing would be to prepare yourself for, you know, being out there if your car becomes disabled. And so go ahead, take the time, check to see if your spare tire's inflated. Too commonly enough, people have spare tires, but they're flat. So make sure you have the equipment to change your spare tire. Now the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and I know the deputies carry the equipment to change tires, but some of these tires are very unique and they require a specific type of tool to disable the tire from the car. And so make sure you have that. Maybe it's a locking lug nut or something like that. So check on those things, check and make sure those things are available in your car. And then the common safety equipment that you see, and a lot of times you see this year kits sold at different stores. They may have some lights, some flashlights in them, or some road marking lights. They may have some triangles in them, some jumper cables, things like that. Always a good idea to have in your car this time of year. Tuck those away in the trunk, maybe have a little safety bag in your trunk or in the rear hatch, or buried under a seat or something, because it very likely could happen to you, and these things will come in handy.
Well, that's great. That's great information for our listeners. I will tell you that, you know, in today's day and age, everybody has a cell phone. So I know that they can reach out to you and the patrol if they're traveling on the highway, they break down or they have an emergency. They have the 1-877 patrol that they can call, and certainly they can call 911, which will come into our 911 dispatch centers if they have an emergency on the roadway, and we'll get assistance out to them. And I encourage folks to use that if they need it. Getting ready to close up our program here, we talked a lot about the roadways. We talked about being prepared and how folks can be prepared. And thank you, Sergeant, for those comments about things that you can have in your car, just a few things that we don't think about. But in closing, I want to talk a little bit about how we work together and the collaboration. I think that's an important piece here for people to understand. Not any one of us can do this alone. We can't make our roadways clear alone. We can't keep our roadways safe alone. So can we talk a little bit, Ray, how important is that collaboration to the Ohio Department of Transportation?
Yeah, we absolutely rely on local law enforcement to do our job. There's certain zones with our construction zones where our crews, it's very limited to work, and so it's a collaborative effort of getting that message out to these motorists to please slow down, drive the appropriate speed through these zones. Like Sergeant mentioned, it's somebody's family member working, whether they're in a construction zone or working on the side of the road there. It's somebody's family member working, and we all need to come together here and really realize that it's more than just trying to get to where you're going. You got to realize that it's somebody's working there and really give yourself plenty of time to reach your destination to help keep people from ODOT safe, local law enforcement, tow truck drivers, anybody that's a roadside worker.
Absolutely, and we appreciate those comments. We appreciate you both being here today. It's been very informational for our viewers, and I think that the information that we provided today should be helpful for people as they begin to navigate through another winter season here in Ohio. To our guest, Sergeant Johnny Maier with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, my son, thank you for being here. And Ray Marsh with our Department of Transportation, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. We know you both have busy days ahead of you this winter, and we can't thank you enough for spending the time with us to inform our audience of how they can be better prepared for another winter right here in Stark County. To our members of our community, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments about this show or a past show or topics you'd like to see discussed in the future, please send me an email. I'm your Stark County Sheriff, George Maier, and this is On Our Watch, where we are here working together to keep Stark County safe.
I am a deputy SWAT operator.
I'm a mechanic.
I'm a customer service associate.
Hi, I'm Sheriff George Maier. Here at the Stark County Sheriff's Office, we are family. We support each other, we lean on each other, and we learn from each other each and every day. There are countless ways to serve Stark County within our agency, and one may just be perfect for you.
I am the Information Technology Director.
I am a K-9 technician.
I'm a maintenance technician.
Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference.
I am a correction officer.
I'm a corrections corporal.
I am the jail commander.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Jeff Beck. Being a corrections officer isn't easy. The job is tough and it tests you every day. Every officer that works in our jail is making a difference. They are providing an immeasurable service to the community by ensuring the firm, fair, and consistent treatment of our inmates as they navigate the judicial system.
Learn more on how you can join our team today and be the difference.